Sadly, 2020 is another busy year for the Tinseltown obituaries. From founding fathers of comedy and veteran character actors to up-and-coming stars that never got a chance to truly shine. Here are the actors we lost in 2020, not yet covered on Looper. Former child actor Jason Davis died in February 2020 of a fentanyl overdose, according to the LA County Medical Examiner. He was 35. Jason made his debut in the CBS sitcom Dave's World at age 10 and would go on to appear in the Chris Farley flop Beverly Hills Ninja, as well as the Jackie Chan Chris Tucker smash hit Rush Hour while he was still a child. But his biggest role by far was Mikey Bloomberg in Recess. Jason voiced the animated Gentle Giant hundreds of times between 1997 and 2003.
The Young Voices training program doesn't like the word camp. They provide opportunities for aspiring singers to train their voices in a rigorous yet supportive setting.
Shortly after being arrested for possession in 2011, Jason appeared on VH1's Celebrity Rehab and opened up about his, quote, scary battle with heroin addiction. He's survived by his brothers, Brandon and Alexander, and two half-sisters, Isabella and Mariella Rickle. Newark native Mark Blum, who starred opposite Madonna in Desperately Seeking Susan and played Paul Hogan's love rival in Crocodile Dundee, passed away in March 2020. The stage and screen actor died after complications from COVID-19. He was 69. Younger viewers are more likely to recognize Blum as either Union Bob, the piccolo player in Amazon's classical music comedy drama Mozart in the Jungle, or Mr. Mooney, the bookstore owner in Netflix's popular stalker show, You. Blum's final role was Dr. Mark Rutenberg, a one-off character in Showtime's hit legal series Billions. He's survived by his wife, actress Janet Zarish. John Callahan, the soap opera star who played Edmund Gray on All My Children from 1992 to 2005, died in March 2020. According to People's Sources, Callahan suffered a massive stroke and did not recover. He was 66. Callahan married Ava LaRue in 1996, and the All My Children colleagues had a daughter named Cara together before divorcing in 2004. Callahan is also survived by two stepchildren from his previous marriage to Linda Freeman. Callahan also appeared in over 100 episodes of Days of Our Lives. Other notable credits include Falcon Crest, Santa Barbara, Desperate Housewives, and The Bay. British actress Honor Blackman, who appeared opposite Sean Connery as the iconic Bond girl Pussy Galore in 1964's Goldfinger, passed away of natural causes, surrounded by family, in April 2020. She was 94. Blackman rose to prominence in the early 1960s, playing leather-clad super spy Kathy Gale in The Avengers, the 60s secret agent TV comedy series. Blackman carried on acting well into her golden years, but she became better known for her activism and her political career later in life. She was a card-carrying member of the Liberal Democrats and would often speak at party events. Connecticut-born actor Brian Dennehy, best known for playing dogged small-town sheriff Will Teasel in Sylvester Stallone's classic First Blood, died of natural causes in April 2020. He was 81. Dennehy won a football scholarship to Columbia after leaving the Marines in 1963, and from there he got into Yale, where he studied dramatic arts. After dozens of roles in TV and movies, he landed a recurring role on Dynasty in 1981, and his career got another boost the following year when he played John Rambo's nemesis. Other notable appearances include Ron Howard's sci-fi Cocoon and the Lawrence Kasdan western Silverado, both released in 1985. Dennehy made his overdue Broadway debut in the mid-90s, and he would later voice the character Django in the Pixar hit Ratatouille. His final appearance was on a 2019 episode of NBC's The Blacklist. Film and TV actor Dimitri Diatchenko, best known for his turn as reckless tour guide Yuri in the nuclear horror Chernobyl Diaries, passed away in April 2020. Diatchenko, who was a first-generation American of Ukrainian, Swedish, and Greek heritage, died suddenly at his home in Florida while recovering from being electrocuted on the job, his agent confirmed. He was 52. Diatchenko appeared as a Russian enforcer in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and Get Smart, and he played a similar role in Sons of Anarchy. He has numerous other TV and movie credits, both on-screen and as a voice actor. Bollywood star Irrfan Khan, best known to Western audiences for his turns in Jurassic World, Life of Pi, Slumdog Millionaire, and The Amazing Spider-Man, died in April 2020. The Indian actor suffered from a rare neuroendocrine tumor in 2018 and later succumbed to an infection. He was 53. Khan was born in the northern state of Rajasthan. He got his start on Indian TV and quickly made the transition to feature-length films. He is survived by his wife, Sutapa, and his sons, Babil and Iron. Actor and comedian Jerry Stiller passed away from natural causes in May 2020. His son, Hollywood star Ben Stiller, confirmed his death on Twitter. Stiller was 92. Stiller made his Broadway debut in 1954, appearing in the musical comedy The Golden Apple, and his comedy act with wife Anne Mira was popular throughout the 60s and beyond. Stiller had roles on TV sitcoms in the 70s and 80s, and in the 90s began his lengthy stint on Seinfeld and later The King of Queens.
When my blood pressure gets too high, the man on the tape tells me to say, "Serenity now!"
Are you supposed to yell it?
The man on the tape wasn't specific.
Stiller also popped up in many of his son's movies over the years, most notably 2001's Zoolander. He also appeared in the sequel, 2016's Zoolander 2, which was his last feature film. California native Naya Rivera, best known for playing cheerleader Santana Lopez on the smash hit musical comedy drama series Glee, died in July 2020. The singer and actor went boating on Lake Piru with her 4-year-old son Josie and never returned. A search was initiated when Josie was spotted alone on the boat, and Rivera's body was discovered a few days later. The Ventura County Sheriff's Department called it a tragic accident. Rivera was 33. Rivera started out as a child actor, making her debut on the CBS sitcom The Royal Family at the age of 4. She appeared on numerous TV shows before Glee creator Ryan Murphy cast her in what would become her career-defining role. Ohio-born actor Fred Willard, best known for his numerous collaborations with actor and filmmaker Christopher Guest, died of natural causes in May 2020. He was 86. Willard got started in sketch comedy in 1965 and played Jerry Hubbard on the parody talk show Fernwood Tonight. His memorable short appearance in 1984's This Is Spinal Tap began his fruitful relationship with Guest, which would lead to roles in Waiting for Guffman, Best in Show, A Mighty Wind, and For Your Consideration. Willard was a 4-time Emmy nominee. He passed away just weeks before the premiere of the Netflix series Space Force, his final role. Singer and actor Chris Trousdale passed away in June 2020 from complications from COVID-19. He was 34. Trousdale achieved Broadway prominence in Les Miserables and in the boy band Dream Street. Many TV appearances followed on shows like Lucifer and Days of Our Lives. His final performance has him starring as a wedding singer in the recently released indie romance flick New York Christmas Morning. British character actor Ian Holm, who played android Ash in Alien and brought Bilbo Baggins to life in Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings trilogy, passed away from a Parkinson's-related illness in June 2020. He was 88.
I need a holiday. A very long holiday. And I don't expect I shall return.
Holm was among the first group of actors recruited to the Royal Shakespeare Company upon its founding in 1961. In the decades that followed, he became a celebrated fixture in British and American theater at the highest levels. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor in 1981 for his role in Chariots of Fire. He played Napoleon Bonaparte in Terry Gilliam's Time Bandits that same year. Prominent parts followed in Brazil, Another Woman, and The Fifth Element before Holm debuted as the adventurous hobbit Bilbo Baggins, his most iconic role. 2-time Oscar nominee Shirley Knight, who recurred on Desperate Housewives and appeared in the Paul Blart Mall Cop movies, died in April 2020, aged 83. Knight made her TV debut in 1955, and by the early 60s was a household name in Hollywood. She was nominated for a Best Supporting Actress Oscar for The Dark at the Top of the Stairs, and again in Sweet Bird of Youth. After a successful theater stint, Knight returned to the screen in The Poseidon Adventure and followed this with many TV appearances, winning 3 of 8 Emmy nominations in the process. Her final Emmy nod was in 2006, when she was recognized for her work as Phyllis Vandekamp in Desperate Housewives. Knight was also the proud owner of a Tony Award. New York-born comedy legend Carl Reiner, creator of The Dick Van Dyke Show, died in his Beverly Hills home surrounded by family in June 2020. His son, Hollywood director Rob Reiner, announced his passing to the world on Twitter. Carl Reiner was 98. Reiner started working in television in 1948 and spent the majority of the 50s bouncing between television and the movies. He wouldn't become a household name until the 60s, the decade of The Dick Van Dyke Show. Other notable credits include Frasier, House, Seinfeld, Ally McBeal, Mad About You, and the Ocean's 11 films. Reiner was also a talented voice actor who played characters on Bob's Burgers, Justice League Action, Family Guy, American Dad, and Toy Story 4. Canadian TV and Broadway actor Nick Cordero died of COVID-19 in July 2020. He fought the virus for 95 days before passing away at a hospital in Los Angeles. Cordero was 41. Cordero had many theater roles, achieving his first full Broadway production in 2012. He played Cheech in Bullets Over Broadway in 2014, picking up a Tony nomination for his work in the Jukebox musical. The Ontario native has also worked on TV's Queer as Folk, Lilyhammer, and Law & Order Special Victims Unit, and in feature films A Stand-Up Guy and Going in Style. Hollywood legend Olivia de Havilland, the last surviving star of 1939's Gone with the Wind, passed away from natural causes in July 2020 at age 104. During the classic film era, de Havilland starred opposite Errol Flynn in no fewer than 8 films, though her role as Melanie in Gone with the Wind was her most famous. The Best Picture winner is still considered the most financially successful film of all time after inflation adjustments. De Havilland went on to win Best Actress statuettes for 1946's To Each His Own and 1949's The Heiress. Japanese film and TV star Haruma Miura, who starred in the live-action adaptation Attack on Titan, died in July 2020 of a possible suicide. The actor was 30. Miura was a former child actor who worked in TV through his teens. Miura flitted between movies and television in the decade that followed, receiving praise for his work in the aviation epic The Eternal Zero, and soon after the 2 Attack on Titan movies. If you or anyone you know is having suicidal thoughts, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK, 1-800-273-8255. Mustachioed character actor Wilford Brimley passed away in August 2020 after a struggle with diabetes and kidney disease. He was 85. Brimley made his big screen breakthrough as a foreman in 1979's The China Syndrome. He impressed in Sidney Pollack's Absence of Malice in 1981, worked under John Carpenter in the seminal sci-fi horror The Thing in 1982, and starred as rejuvenated geriatric Ben Luckett in Ron Howard's Cocoon in 1985. Brimley became a fixture on American television in the 80s and 90s as the no-nonsense Quaker Oats guy, and became a meme for his TV ads for diabetes test strips. Dame Diana Rigg, Bond girl Tracy DeVincenzo in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and Olenna Tyrell in Game of Thrones passed away in September 2020. The acting legend was 82.
It's a rare enough thing. A man who lives up to his reputation.
Rigg began her career as a stage actor in 1959. She made her screen debut that same year in a made-for-TV version of A Midsummer Night's Dream, then became a household name as secret agent Emma Peel in the classic spy show The Avengers. Now a fashion icon and sex symbol, Rigg portrayed the only Bond girl to marry 007 in 1969. Rigg returned to international prominence in Game of Thrones, and her final feature film, Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho, is set to arrive in 2021. Anglo-French actor Michael Lonsdale, who starred in The Day of the Jackal and played Bond villain Hugo Drax in Moonraker, died in September 2020. He was 89. Lonsdale studied painting before becoming an actor, making his stage debut at the age of 24 and his first screen appearances in the 1950s. Following blockbuster roles in the 70s, he would go on to appear alongside Robert De Niro and Jean Reno in the 1998 action flick Ronin, and later played the character Papa in Steven Spielberg's historical thriller Munich in 2005. Lonsdale's final film was the 2016 sci-fi Sculpt. Singer and actress Helen Reddy, who became synonymous with the feminist movement and appeared in the films Airport 1975 and Pete's Dragon, died in September 2020. The Australian Grammy winner was 78. In her career, Reddy would record over a dozen top 40 singles, though she will always be remembered for I Am Woman, her feminist anthem. Reddy played Sister Ruth in airborne thriller Airport 1975, the year after winning her first Grammy. And in 1977, she took on the role of Nora in Pete's Dragon. Notable TV credits include Fantasy Island, The Jeffersons, and Diagnosis Murder. I Am Woman, a biopic about Reddy's rise to stardom, premiered just a month before her death. Actor Clark Middleton passed away in October 2020 after suffering from West Nile virus. The veteran actor and disabilities advocate was 63. Middleton lived with rheumatoid arthritis for most of his life, but he never let it stop him from pursuing his passion. He made his stage debut in 1983 and developed into a dependable big-screen actor. Middleton worked with Quentin Tarantino on Kill Bill Volume 2, Ang Lee in Taking Woodstock, Bong Joon-ho in Snowpiercer, David Lynch in Twin Peaks: The Return, and Alejandro Iñárritu in Best Picture winner Birdman. Middleton was also regularly seen on many different TV shows. Veteran actress and dancer Marge Champion, who starred in a series of musicals opposite her husband in the 1950s, passed away in October 2020 at the age of 101. In the 1930s, Champion served as the model for Walt Disney's titular character in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. She also modeled the Blue Fairy in 1940's Pinocchio, Hyacinth Hippo in Fantasia, and Mr. Stork in Dumbo. Champion made her Broadway debut in 1945 and would become a movie star the following decade with a string of MGM musicals. Champion would later scoop an Emmy Award for her choreography work on the critically acclaimed 1975 telefilm Queen of the Stardust Ballroom. Sean Connery, the Scottish movie icon best known for originating the role of James Bond on the big screen, died in October 2020 at age 90. Connery rose to prominence in 1961 in the BBC's Anna Karenina. The former model made his debut as 007 in Dr. No in 1963. Connery became a globally recognized star, and his influence grew with every subsequent installment. Connery appeared in 8 Bond films in total.
I admire your luck, Mr.
Bond. James Bond.
Post-Bond, Connery appeared in films like Highlander, The Untouchables, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, The Hunt for Red October, and The Rock. Actor Eddie Hassell, who played Clay in the Best Picture nominee The Kids Are All Right, and Apple employee Chris Espinosa in Jobs, died in November 2020. Hassell was fatally wounded in a robbery gone tragically wrong. He was 30. Hassell landed his first significant role in 2005, securing the part of Phil Nance in the Lake Bell-led sci-fi series Surface, which led to more prominent roles in film. Hassell was also known for Devious Maids, on which he recurred as the wrongfully convicted Eddie Suarez. Bert Belasco, best known for playing Charles Whitmore in the BET sitcom Let's Stay Together, passed away in November 2020. Belasco was pronounced dead at a hotel in Virginia of a likely aneurysm, according to his father's report to TMZ. He was 38. After early work in improv and video game vocal performance, Belasco appeared in an episode of House. He went on to become a regular on American TV, recurring on the baseball dramedy Pitch and the Jim Carrey-produced I'm Dying Up Here. Other notable appearances include Justified, Key and Peele, NCIS New Orleans, and American Princess, though Belasco will undoubtedly be remembered for his 52-episode stint on Let's Stay Together. Star of the stage and screen Lawrence Clayton, who made his Broadway debut as part of the replacement cast of Dreamgirls, died in November 2020 after a battle with cancer. He was 64. Clayton was a regular in New York's theater scene. He made his bow as C.C. White in Dreamgirls in 1981 and went on to appear in a number of other Broadway musicals. He appeared in the 2015 revival of The Color Purple, and the Oprah Winfrey-produced show won the Tony Award for Best Revival of a Musical. Clayton also toured with productions of Jesus Christ Superstar and Les Miserables during his days on the stage. As for TV, Clayton made his screen debut in a 1989 episode of The Equalizer, later appearing on Deadline, Law & Order Criminal Intent, As the World Turns, The Big C, Homeland, Law & Order Special Victims Unit, and the CBS Sherlock Holmes show Elementary. Clayton made his final appearance in a 2019 episode of Netflix's groundbreaking LGBTQ drama, Pose. Compton native Tommy Tiny Lister, best known for playing neighborhood bully Debo in the Friday films, passed away in December 2020. The actor and former wrestler was found unresponsive at his California apartment, Variety confirmed, after reporting COVID-19-like symptoms. Lister was 62. Lister was a prolific character actor who had well over 200 credits to his name when he died. He made his debut as a football player in a 1984 episode of the ABC sitcom Webster, and would have a stint in professional wrestling before establishing himself as a go-to tough guy in Hollywood. He played a bail agent in Quentin Tarantino's Jackie Brown and a tattooed prisoner in Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, but it was the role of Debo that earned him a place in pop culture history. Harry Haynes, Terry Jones, Stan Kirsch, Norma Michaels, Hugh Kais Byrne, David Prowse, Max von Sydow, Janae Dubois, Kelly Nakahara, Esther Scott, Nikita Waligwa, Lynn Cohen, Kevin Conway, Kirk Douglas, Jack Kehoe, Kirby Morrow, John Carlin, Trini Lopez, Marcia Kramer, William Bogart, Raphael Coleman, Conchata Farrell, Elsa Raven, Margaret Nolan, Amelia McQueen, Yuko Takeuchi, Sai Ashina, Chadwick Boseman, Alan Rich, Ash Christian, Ben Cross, Rennie Santoni, Royana Black, Annie Ross, Jacqueline Scott, John Saxon, Galen Gorg, Kelly Preston, Earl Cameron, Jill Gascoigne, Tony Scannell, Mel Winkler, Peggy Pope, Gino Silva, Mary Pat Gleason, Anthony James, Richard Hurd, Hagan Mills, Gregory Tyree Boyce, John Mahon, Sam Lloyd, Bruce Alpress, Gene Danersky, Jack Wallace, Julie Bennett, Shirley Douglas, Hilary Heath, Tom Lester, Lee Fierro, Alan Garfield, Logan Williams, Jay Benedict, Andrew Jack, John Shrapnel.